Hello everyone and welcome back. For today's tutorial, we're going to need a few supplies. We're going to need a pair of scissors. Now you might want a darning needle, but I'm going to show you how you can actually weave in the ends throughout this project without having to use one, but it's always a good thing to have one handy. Now these are optional. I am adding them to mine and showing you how to add them just because I kind of like the little extra flair that it gave to the project. These are just some of these small beads. I went with the mini pony beads just because the hole was big enough. It was easier to thread onto my yarn. I'm using a 4mm crochet hook. And then I am using just some number 4 weight yarn. Now for these, if you're going to be wearing them somewhere, especially where they're going to be getting wet at all, I do recommend highly to use a cotton yarn as it doesn't stretch out as much as other synthetic yarns like acrylic. For your first step, what you're going to want to do is 8 beads, and we're going to thread them onto our yarn. And we're just going to thread on 8 beads onto our string. So I've got the beads all threaded onto our string. I've put a few extra, but it doesn't matter. Now we want to put these on first so we can work them on as we're going along, so we don't need them just now. To begin, we're going to create a magic ring. So easiest way I find is hold the yarn between your thumb and forefinger with your tail end facing you. Wrap around your fingers, and the working end is towards you. And then lean it to the back. Put your hook between your fingers and grab the working end. And pull up to create a loop. And then from here, we're going to chain 3. Now for this project, this first chain 3 does count as a double crochet. And we're going to want to put 15 more double crochets into the ring, so we'll end up having a total of 16 if we count the chain 3. Now that we have our 15 double crochets plus our chain 3, so 16 into our magic ring, we're going to take our tail end of our magic ring and pull it in order to close. And then we're going to slip stitch into that third chain of the first chain 3 of the round in order to join. And there we are with round 1. For round 2, we're going to chain 1. And then into that very same stitch, we're going to put a single crochet. And then we chain 3. And then we'll skip our next stitch and single crochet into the next. And we're going to repeat that going all the way around. Chain 3. Skip 1, single crochet into the next until we get all the way to our very last over here before we join. And then for right here before our very end, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little chain 3 spaces we made. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to double crochet right into the top of that very first single crochet of the round in order to join. And there we are for round 2. For round 3, we'll start with a chain 3, which does count as a double crochet. And then into this chain 3 space, well, this first one isn't a chain 3 space, it's a chain, but into the same space, we're going to do 3 double crochets. And then from here, we're going to chain 5. And now for our repeat, we're going to double crochet 4 times into the next chain 3 space. 2, 3, 4, and then chain 5. And you're going to want to repeat this for each chain space all the way around, so you should have a total of 8 little clusters. But on your last one, hold off on doing the chain 5. Now for our very last space, normally we'd need a chain 5 space to join these 2 clusters together. What we're going to do instead is chain 2, and then we're going to double crochet into the 3rd chain of our first chain 3 of the round in order to join. And there we are for round 3. For round 4, we start with a chain 1, and then working on this side of this, because our double crochet took up the space of the rest of the chains that we needed, we're going to put 3 single crochets. And then from here, we're going to chain 1, bring down one of our beads and kind of put it behind our hook, and then do another chain, and then a 3rd chain. And then we're going to kind of come back around and see that back bump of that first chain. We're going to slip stitch right into there. And then coming right over to this next chain 5 space, we're going to single crochet 3 times. And then here at the top, we're going to chain 3, and then single crochet 3 times into this side, this other side of the chain 5 space. And then once again, over the cluster, we chain 1, bring down a bead, so it's kind of behind our hook, and then chain 1, and then chain 1 again, so it's 3 chains in there, but we've attached the bead. Come into the back bump of our very first chain and slip stitch right into there. And then to our next cluster, once again, chain or single crochet 3 times. And then back at the top, chain 3, single crochet 3 times on into the chain 5 space again. And then create another chain with the bead, slip stitch into the back bump of our first chain of the chain 3. And then into this next space, we do our 3 single crochets. And then we're going to chain 10. Now what this does is this is creating the loop which your toe goes through. Now if you're making it for someone with a larger toe or just wants extra space into there, you might want to add a couple more chains. But I do recommend, if you're especially making this for yourself, simply bring it down place it around your toe and make sure you have enough room that's going to fit comfortably around there. I found 10 to be the magic number. With me, you might want to go up to probably 12, but size it first. And then back here onto this side, we're going to single crochet 3 times. And we're going to keep repeating this same pattern all the way around, but we're not going to do this. We're just going to keep doing 3 chains, 3 single crochets, add a bead above our clusters, 3 single crochets, chain 3, 3 single crochets, the chain 3, little pop with the bead, all the way around till we get to the very end where we stop with 3 single crochets. And I'll show you from there what we're going to do to start making your first ankle strap. All right, now that we're at the very end of our closure up here, we're going to chain 1 and then into the top of that very first single crochet, we're going to put a double crochet into that first single crochet of the round in order to join. So here we are. Here is the 4th round. We've added the toe. We have our beads on to our project. So now we need to make the ankle straps. So coming out from right here, simply all we do is chain 100. Now, if you want shorter straps, making these so that they wrap around the ankle, you'll want to do shorter chain lengths in order to create a shorter strap, or if you want one that's longer and wraps around the ankle and the calf more, add more chains. So go ahead and do your 100 chains, and then tie off and secure the end, and I'll be right back to show you how to make where and how to make the other. So here we are, we finished our 1 strap. Now for our second strap, we're going to skip this next little space in between where our beads are, and we're going to attach our yarn into the 3rd or the 2nd chain of that chain 3 cluster. And then from here, we're just going to chain our 100. And in order to weave in this end so that we don't need to use our darning needle as we're chaining. So here's chain 2. I'm just taking the working end and flipping it to either side so it kind of weaves that tail end also into the project. And then make sure you do your 100 chains and tie off. And there we are. Now you're going to want to go back and make 1 more of these, so you have 1 for each foot. And there we are with our lovely little barefoot sandals. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave it a little thumbs up, like. Let me know any additional in the comments section, or if there's anything you're wanting me to make for you. And if you have yet to subscribe, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button with that little bell notification next to it so you can get a heads up every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.